Welcome. Today's topic is Google Task. Let's get started. What is Google Task? It is a way to keep track of your tasks on your computer or phone. As many of us will say, the never-ending to-do list. You'll also see on the slide deck there's additional resources posted on this slide as well, both Google and Google Help-Iowa resources to dive deeper about Google Task. Let's continue on. Where can you find Google Task? Great news. You can install the Google Task app on your iOS device or your Android device. Just go to the appropriate store and find Google Task and install. Then log into your account, your State of Iowa Google account, and you will see your task populated and the ability to add and edit. Not only that, you will be able to access your Google Tasks through your Chrome web browser as long as you're logged into your State of Iowa Google account. How many different ways can you create or edit a task? Well, you can actually access your Google Tasks through the side panel, Gmail, Calendar, Chat, Google Docs, and mobile devices. So again, you can see there's many ways to access your never-ending to-do list. So let's focus on the side panel first. You can see in this GIF that there is a side panel appearing on the right-hand side. That side panel has a task logo. With that task logo, you'll be able to add, edit, view your list, star it, print it, and etc. It is not a standalone app in your Chrome web browser as what we're used to, like if you click on the 9-inch grid, you find your Gmail, you find your Drive, but it is actually incorporated in the side panel throughout numerous apps within Google Workspace. Where can you find the side panel? You can find it in Gmail, Calendar, Chat, Drive, and Doc editors. And the definition of Doc editors is sheets, slides, and docs. So again, it's there through your most used Google Workspace apps. One of my best tips and tricks that I love to show when I'm training Gmail is an email usually is a to-do. Please send me my report, please provide me training, etc., etc. It's got something that you need to complete in that email. And sometimes you just want to add it to a to-do list. Maybe you write it on a piece of paper. But the good news is you can actually add an email directly from your Gmail and add it in your task list. As you can see in this GIF, there's actually 3 ways to complete that task in hand, and no pun intended. You can right-click on a particular email and choose Add to Task. You can open up an email, select Add to Task. And last but not least, you can drag and drop an email and add to task. And we all know the email contains all the details of that particular to-do. You'll be able to click on that particular task that you just added in your task list, and it'll take you directly back to that email that you actually put in that task. So again, very interoperable, and it works great. So again, that is one of my favorite ways to add a task. The other way is through Calendar. You also have a Google Task Calendar inside your Google Calendar app. You may not recognize it, but it is underneath My Calendars and it states Task. With that being said, it might look like a different color, and like this particular GIF, it is currently purple. As you can see, there is a Task Calendar, and with that being said, it might have a different color, but you do have a Task Calendar. With that, when you actually create an event, you will have the option to select task, and then you add the details, the due dates, and etc. What list do you want it, and click save. And then it will go into the side panel where you'll locate your task and do on. And you will see your task list appear, or you will see that new task appear. You'll also be able to go to the create button and select task, but you can see in this GIF, as always, Google likes to give us multiple ways to create a task. So if you're inside your calendar, you can do so as well. Again, whatever your preference is, whatever way that you like to create your task, you can also do it in calendar as well. As many of you know, chat is kind of the new break room conversation. It's also the cubicle conversation that you would just talk to your coworker across the cube. Chat is that new way of doing so. Sometimes you will then also receive a task in hand to complete. So in this example, you can see trainer 1 has sent a directive to trainer 13. You hover over that chat and it will add it to task. We also have chat spaces, which are formerly known as rooms. That is a great collaborative environment for teams. and a lot of times a task will need to be assigned to a particular person to complete. You can do that, and you'll find an additional tab to add a space task. And again, every single one of these tasks that I'm showing you are going into the task in your side panel. So again, a great way to just quickly write your to-do list, and lack of better words, inside your task list from chat as well. Google Docs, this is a brand new feature. Relatively speaking, you have the option to assign tasks through Google Docs. You need to create a checklist as shown, make it a checklist, and you will then have the option to hover over and add it to a task or assign a task to a coworker. In this example, I am Persona Trader 13. I'm assigning myself the task, and when you do that, you also will see that it's appearing in my task list. If I assigned it to a coworker, let's say Trainer 7, and I assigned it to Trainer 7, it will be added to the task list inside her side panel task app as well. And if she marked it complete or I marked it complete, it will remove it and put it in completed or strike it through in Google Docs. So again, a huge way to understand what has been completed and what has not, and Google Docs is a great way to keep track of projects and knowing what needs to be done. Mobile devices, I'm not going to show you a GIF on this, but you can, like I mentioned earlier, install the Google Task app on both Android and iOS, and I have provided you some resources if you need assistance after you've installed the app on how to use Task on that particular mobile device that you have in possession. There are other features and options with Task, such as printing, star a task, set recurring tasks, create multiple lists, organize tasks, sort tasks, remove and restore, find and edit pending task and calendar, and complete a task. Please make sure you click on the links that will provide you additional resources for each one of those options that appear on this slide. So again, a plethora of resources just on the slide deck. So again, I hope this slide deck does help you to understand the power of Google Task. Well, to my favorite thing, let's go ahead and demonstrate some of the things we just reviewed in the slide deck. First of all, let's make sure we can find the side panel. On the right-hand side, you will locate a side panel, and you will locate the Task app. You will find the side panel inside Gmail, Calendar, Drive, and Doc editors, as we mentioned in the Google slide. However, with that, I do want to make note that we do receive questions that sometimes my side panel is not appearing. No worries, just somehow you have selected to hide the side panel. I'm going to go ahead and click on the caret just to show you how it can be hidden. If you need more real estate, you no longer have the side panel appearing. No worries, if you want, just click on the caret at the bottom and select Show Side Panel. So again, please make note that you sometimes can hide your side panel. With that, let's go ahead and focus on some of the ways that you can add emails to Google Task. One option is to always right-click on that particular email, and you will have the option to add to task. The other option is to open up the email, or just go ahead and click on Add Task if you have it selected. That would be another way. The last option is you can always go ahead and make sure you have Task open, and then you can drag it over and add and drop that task over. I'm going to go ahead and do that with that particular email. Now, once you've got the email over there, you can see it's got the subject line is the particular task. You can add details, add more details to that particular task. You can add a due date. If you add a due date, it will also go to that task calendar that we talked about earlier. It will also then tie to the calendar. As you know, Google likes to work together within your Google Workspace apps. So I could go ahead and select the date of February 28th, set a time. Whatever the case may be, I will select 6 p.m. tonight. I also have the option to repeat, and this is a similar repeat functionality that we see within Google Calendar. And now you can see that it is set up, and we'll show you where this is at in the Google Calendar. Before I leave Gmail, many of us use our chat feature inside our Gmail. Now, chat can also be accessed through chat.google or Chat Progressive web app. As we mentioned, you can always hover over an individual message that you have. In this particular case, hey, I need a favor, please send me a quarterly report. That sounds like something I need to do. You can hover over that message, look for the 3 dots, and we know 3 dots in Google means ... Google has more for you. click on the three dots and you will have the option to add to task. I'll go ahead and do that. And you will see now that that particular task brings over the comments that was made in the message. Again, you can repeat details and etc. Now I'm going to go ahead and just show you chat spaces so you're aware of that as well. You may have a chat space, and again, when you click on the chat space, you have files and you have task. It has separate menu options there. You can always select add space task and you can call it send communication. Whatever a case may be, you can add a date and time and you can assign. So if I go ahead and do assign 13 and I do a date and time of February 28th and I select, I'm going to stick with the 7 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and do 7:30, hit OK, could add some more details and hit add. If I added trainer 7, it would automatically go to trainer 7's task and appear in her own particular My Task. So now that we've added all these tasks, let's actually do what really does happen. Now let's say time has passed and you want to review your task and you're ready to work on some of those. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and click on the task and you're going to review and decide which one you need to do. Well, obviously the first one that's due at 6 p.m. tonight, I probably should do that one before the 7:30. That makes sense. So now I can't quite remember the details of that particular task. This was one that I pulled from the email. I could actually click on follow-up email. That will take me directly to that email correspondence and know exactly what I need to do for that particular to-do. Same thing up here. If I go to, hey, I need a favor, that was one that we added from chat. I can click on that and it will take me directly to that particular message where I added the task. There's just many ways to add tasks in chat in Gmail. We're going to quickly go to Calendar as well. So let's go ahead and navigate to Google Calendar. And we'll just briefly go over the options in Google Calendar. Well, now we're in Google Calendar. The first thing I want to make note of is remember those two tasks that we put a due date of 6 o'clock and 7:30 p.m. of today, which is February 28th. I want to point out that there are two tasks with that on my task calendar in my calendars. You can see that I have task as one of the calendars that are appearing, and my particular task calendar is in purple. And you can see that I have the follow-up and the send communication. If I click on the follow-up, again, you can see the view the related email. You can see so much more. You also have the option to mark as completed here as well. You have multiple ways to work within your task. Now, if you wanted to create a task in your calendar app, you can always click the create button, select task. You can select the time frame that you want to do and then select task. And you can add a description, due date, and etc. You can do all those same things directly here that you're used to within Calendar. And again, you can always go over here and add a task as well. So you can see it's very similar to a rinse and repeat process as you navigate both Gmail and Calendar. So just be aware that it is interoperable. Last, let's go ahead and go to Google Docs. Again, we already mentioned that Google Doc editors have the option of the side panel on the right-hand side, so you have your task appearing on the side panel. But Google Docs does have one more benefit than the other doc editors right now. Is that if you add a checklist, which up here, if you go ahead and notice that it has the checklist option, you have two options for checklist, the strike through or just the checkbox. So be aware that you have to make it a checkbox. Obviously, a checkbox is crossing the item off. So once you make an item a checkbox, you will see a new option to hover over and assign task. You can assign it to not only yourself, but to other coworkers that you are working on in this particular document. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and assign it to myself. I'm trainer 13 today. And again, you can add a due date and etc. And you can assign task. And then what happens is then it will appear over here in my task app and it will then be tied to my Google Doc. So no matter what, if I mark this complete over here in Google Docs, it will also mark it complete here as well. So it's a really nice feature to keep track of to-do list. So you can see that I went down to the completed list. Now that we know all the options that Google Task has available for us, let's just go over to the Task app as well. First thing I want to point out is you can actually have multiple lists. You can see that I have Project A. A lot of us have multiple hats. Some of us might be working on project A, B, and C, and there's different to-do lists regarding each project. So you can always make multiple lists. You can see you have the option to create a new list. Not only that, you do have the option of starring it. So you have a starred filtered. Let's go ahead and discuss that. If I wanted to make this send communication more important, I can go ahead and star it, and it will also then appear in my starred list if I select that. So I'm making a conscious decision that the send communication is more important than other ones. I'm going to go back to my task. Maybe I should also move this to project A. I click on the famous 3 dots. I can actually make a new list on the go. So maybe this doesn't apply to project A. I could do that, or I can select and move it to project A, and now it's in project A and it's in my starred task list, and it's the same task in hand. If this task is done, it's just really simple. Just click mark completed. It will then go into the completed section at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and mark it completed, and you will see then it is down here in my completed once it removes to undo. Obviously you have the option to undo, but you have the option then to select your completed, and if you make a mistake and it really wasn't completed, you can always mark it incomplete. That is the way to restore it. It is now back into your task list. Some other options with the 3 dots. If you click on the 3 dots by the add task, you have my order, you have date, starred recently. You could always rename the list. You also have the option to print the list. You have the option to delete all completed tasks, and you can see keyboard shortcuts as well. So if you are a big keyboard shortcut user, you can use that as well. So again, some options there for you. What I really think you should take from this is you have multiple lists, multiple hats. You can always move these tasks and have it organized by your particular project, or we all just have different hats. I know I work on the project investment side. I'm a Google team. I'm also Okta. I do this and I do that. And there's different lists for each one of those. So it's always nice to have those organized. And I love that it's tied to my Google Calendar as well. So again, some really nice features within Google Tasks. They have made a lot of updates with that. So I strongly encourage you to continue learning more about Google Tasks and trying to incorporate it in your day-to-day basis. With that, thank you for watching. I strongly encourage you to check out the resources posted in the description to learn more about Google Tasks. Thank you.